All right, so we picking up where we left off, and I had just did the Toledo riots. So we just did the Toledo riots, and then before that, the Detroit. So now we on 66B. Long hot summer of 1967. 159 different race riots that year alone. Hey y'all. Hope you're having a good night. Hope your day was great. And we're going to do a little reading. And sorry, no colorful intros or anything like that. Just straight up reading and history tonight. So, because I got a lot to cover, this whole project. So let's get to it. Long hot summer of 1967. The long hot summer of 1967 refers to a period of widespread racial unrest across major American cities during the summer of 1967, where over 150 riots erupted, primarily fueled by deep-seated frustrations regarding police brutality, poverty, and racial inequality within Black communities. The term emphasizes the intensity and widespread nature of the urban violence that summer.
July was bringing America a wave of urban riots never before seen. The desperate cry of the poor of all races was demanding the nation's attention. No thoughtful person could deny that the immediate need for improved housing, health, education, employment opportunity, and hope for the future must receive affluent America's highest priority. The ghetto explosions gave new emphasis to administration efforts to expand its programs to meet those needs. The harsh reality was thrust on the Congress and the majority of the people of the extreme necessity to better the life of America's poor. No one believed that centuries-old inequities could be cured instantly. However, new and massive social rebuilding was becoming imperative. Of the 70 major riots to strike America during this troubled summer, the worst of the year and the nation's history would hit Michigan's largest city. Extremists and opportunists were perverting a just cause and protest. Violence and lawlessness became ends in themselves. On July 24th, for the first time in a quarter of a century, a state governor requested federal troops to put down a disorder beyond his control. Within hours, the president responded by sending 4,700 soldiers into the riot area. At midnight, as soldiers restored peace to the streets of America's fifth largest city, President Johnson addressed the nation.
Law enforcement is a local matter. It is the responsibility of local officials and the governors of the respective states. The federal government should not intervene except in the most extraordinary circumstances. The fact of the matter, however, is that law and order have broken down in Detroit, Michigan. Pillage, looting, murder, and arson have nothing to do with civil rights. They are criminal conduct. And the federal government, in the circumstances here presented, had no alternative but to respond.
Isn't this so crazy? So where was the people at that when people that look like you arrived on these shores and you did all of this stuff to Black people that was already here, and our FBAs and the natives, not the $5 Indians, not the Siberian Mongols, not them. I'm talking about the real natives, the dark-skinned ones. Where was the people at to come and get y'all? Where was the people at to stop y'all from acting like a cancer and spreading amongst humanity, breaking 500 treaties, stealing land, stealing people to bring them over here to do your labor? Where was people at to stop you? And it's so ironic now, the people who have done all this robbing and pillaging and raping and all of this from land to land, now want to turn around and point their finger at others. Isn't that some irony?
I know that with few exceptions, the people of Detroit and the people of Newark and the people of Harlem and of all of our American cities, however troubled they may be, deplore and condemn these criminal acts. I know that the vast majority of Negroes and whites are shocked and are outraged by them.
Yeah, for different reasons. For different reasons. The most destructive riots of the summer took place in July in Detroit and Newark. Many contemporary newspaper headlines describe them as battles. President Johnson established the Kerner Commission to investigate the causes of the riots and address the underlying societal issues. Well, I can tell you what's the cause of the riots. Y'all crack asses. That's the cause of it. You and your systematic institutional racism. That's the problem. And you call addressing underlying societal issues. Well, when you look at yourself in the mirror, those of you that look like Johnson, when you look at yourself, just know the societal issue looks a lot like you. It's been an issue. You'll get on black mothers for raising such and such sons, but you white hoes, you sit up here and you raise mass school shooters. That's what you raise. Mass school shooters. The United States experienced, these are the pictures, by the way. The United States experienced a series of long, hot summers of racial unrest during the mid to late 1960s. They started with the Harlem Riots in July 1964 and the Watts Riot in August of 1965, which is, I'm going to speak about both of these riots soon, coming up. During the first 9 months of 1967, over 150 riots erupted across American cities. The most destructive riots were in Detroit, Michigan, and Newark, New Jersey. By September, 83 people were killed, thousands were injured, tens of millions of dollars worth of property had been destroyed, and entire neighborhoods had been burned. Systemic racism, didn't I just say that? Police brutality, high unemployment rates, poor living conditions in urban black neighborhoods, on top of this Esau Amessican government not delivering on their promises, which was the 40 acres and a mule, can't forget that, which forced these people, black people, to live in the slums, which we find out today was a plan with your black laws and your black codes and your Jim Crow laws and your redlining. This was all an attempt to keep the real children of Israel down. And that's why you get so mad at us. You get so mad and jealous because still we rise, even though we, yes, we do have a problem with black on black crime, but y'all are right there with us, neck and neck with your white on white crime. That's something that I have to admit that I learned, that even with all these police shootings and everything else, and both black people and white people, both Jacob and Esau delete each other the most. Like, white people delete white people the most. Black people delete black people the most. It's not white people delete black people the most. No, but if we going by this stuff, if we're including since you came to this land, then yeah, you will take the lead. And let's not add that per capita. Oh God. Baby, you might as well forget it. Done. But anyway, poor living conditions in urban black neighborhoods and a sense of hopelessness contributed to the widespread unrest. While significant civil rights legislation had been passed, many black people felt that the pace of change was too slow and the progress was not reflected in their daily lives. All right, that's the list of the riots. Now, I ain't reading all of this now. Omaha, Nebraska, Nashville, Tennessee, Louisville, Kentucky, and Cleveland, Ohio. Massillon, Ohio, Wichita, Kansas, Jackson, Mississippi, San Francisco, Houston, Vallejo. So these was riots. 500 black youths rioted at the amusement park Playland, which spilled out into Golden Gate Park. Chicago. Oh, you know Chicago. It was a 2-day affair for them. 10 people, including 3 police officers, were injured. That's it in Chicago? It's no shade. Sorry, Chicago. Oh, Lord. See, you know Boston is nothing but trouble. You know how them black folk in Boston is. Just they just like them Baltimore black people. No. You know how y'all are. Just rowdy for no reason. Okay, Boston. Clearwater, Florida. Tampa. Look, and I could have added these 150 riots to the list, but we going over this. And like I said, y'all, I'm just one person, man. I'm just one person. You see me going over this list and stuff that I really didn't go too far on detail. Well, hey, here's your cross. This maybe this your part of the work. Who knows? I'm just saying. I'm just one person. Tampa. Prattville, Alabama. Oh, the National Guard sent in after black snipers opened fire on the police following the arrest of Stokely Carmichael. What y'all be doing? That little clock and stuff. Clock it. Okay, Prattville. Oh, Lord. Cincinnati. Oh, Lord. Look how long it is. Look how long it is. In Avondale, black man, Postil Lasky Jr., was convicted as the Cincinnati Strangler. Protesters of the verdict turned violent and rioting spread throughout Reading Road, Burnett Avenue, and eventually Bond Hill, Winton Terrace, Walnut Hills, Coreyville, Clifton West End. As a result, one person was deleted, 63 were injured, and 404 were arrested. Told you about them Cincinnati people. Just dangerous. No reason. Don't date no Cincinnati man. Don't date Cincinnati men because they dangerous, and don't date Columbus niggas because they are dumb. I'm just playing. Y'all know I'm from Ohio, so. Montgomery, Alabama. Los Angeles, California. Okay. Philly. Dang. Dayton. Black gangs started smashing windows, setting fires, and looting after a speech by H. Rap Brown, head of Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. Middletown, Ohio. Atlanta, Georgia. What the hell they done did? Scamming people. Buffalo. We back to Cincinnati. I told you. Man, you ain't tell me shit. Told you about them Cincinnati people. Look, one of 3 race-related riots that took place in 1967 in Cincinnati. They do not be playing. Los Angeles, Des Moines, Iowa, Kansas City, Missouri, Waterloo, Iowa. Black gangs? Des Moines, Iowa? Yeah, okay. Look, all 6 of the black gangs got arrested. All 6 people in the gang. Des Moines, Iowa. Ain't no black folk out there. Waterloo. Damn. Newark. Oh, yeah. They said Newark was bad. 26 were killed. 727 were injured. And 1465 were arrested in Newark after false rumors of a black man being killed by police in an attempt to contain the violence. The bridges along the Passaic River were closed every night, and nearly 8,000 state police and National Guardsmen were deployed in Newark. Plainfield. Spillover. Look. Woo. Black rioters looted 90 stores and shot a white policeman to death. Well, I mean, hey. I guess that's what, 50 for us and, against y'all 1 million? Please. Plainfield, Irvington, Orange, East Orange, Montclair. Okay, Jersey, we get it. My God, Elizabeth, Montclair, Asbury Park, New Brunswick, Elizabeth, Patterson, Jersey City. So Jersey, y'all was just so Jersey, y'all was just rowdy. Y'all was just rowdy. Y'all was just being rowdy. Don't make no damn sense. Don't know how to act. Can't take Jersey nowhere. You can't take Jersey nowhere. You cannot take Jersey nowhere. Look, they spill over. Even Wikipedia like Jersey just doing too much. Hartford, Connecticut. Erie, Pennsylvania. That's close to Ohio. Des Moines, Iowa. Fresno, California. Greenwood, North Carolina. Cairo, Illinois. Erie, Pennsylvania. Nyack, New York. Oh, Lord. Minneapolis. Oh, it's Minneapolis. But I call it because people here, they be like, Minneapolis. Like, where's the Annapolis? Like, where's the An part? It's Minneapolis. Minneapolis. Sometimes you gotta oh yeah, I read about this. After an alleged plot set up by Black Panther Party leader Stokely Carmichael and the shooting of a black shoplifter by an Ewish business owner, violence erupted along Plymouth? Oh, okay. All right. Durham, Lakeland, Florida, Bridgeton, New Jersey. Hattiesburg. Black folk gonna look. Black folk gonna throw them stones. See, that's how you know we the real children of Israel. You're still throwing stones. Youngstown, Ohio. Inglewood, New Jersey. Houston, Texas. Black gangs roamed through the streets and set 3 fires with fire bombs. Detroit, Michigan. Dang. I read about this on the last video. See, it's my page. All the videos I've been doing is private. I've been making them private. I'm gonna release them when I get done with this. But see, this is the most recent video that I did right here. See how I got Toledo? I was talking about the Toledo riots, but I also talked about the ones in 1967 too. So, don't mind that video. It's Rob, the story of Daniel. So yeah, I've been doing these. So, yeah, if you want to more in depth, then you can go look at those videos. Nearly 1,200 people were injured and over 7,200 people arrested. Many of them being the estimated 10,000 rioters who ravaged the city. The casualties and damage were the highest since the New York City draft riots or the Tulsa race massacre, depending on what sources were compared. 2,509 buildings reported looting or damage, while 412 buildings were burnt down or damaged enough that they had to be torn down. While news reports put costs from the damage in the hundreds of millions, investigation have put estimates of property damage costs at 40, equivalent to 386 million. Grand Rapids. Yep, spillover, Pontiac. Oh Lord, Michigan. You just okay. I used to party in all these cities. I used to party in all these cities. Flint. I never partied in Flint. I've been to Flint. And I've been to Kalamazoo. Mount Clemens. I don't remember ever going to Muskogee. Benton Harbor, I've been there. Albion, I don't think I've been there. New York City. Oh Lord, they got active in Bed-Stuy. Toledo, Ohio. Hey, holy Toledo. It's my home. They get active. Birmingham, Alabama. Ew. New Britain, Connecticut. Rochester, New York. Tucson. Lima. Lima is a small city. Waukegan. Cambridge. Saginaw. Saginaw, Michigan. Mount Vernon, Phoenix. South Bend, Indiana. Cincinnati again. Philly, Alton, New Rochelle. Lorraine, that's Cleveland. Yeah, it's close. It's Cleveland. Don't try to get away. It's Cleveland. You know how they is. Lock your doors when you go through Cleveland. You know they dangerous. Albany, New York. Poughkeepsie, Peekskill, East St. Louis. They dangerous too. Passaic, New Jersey again. Waterbury, Seattle, Memphis, Springfield. Which Springfield though? There's a lot of Springfield. Like back home in Toledo, it's the Springfield. That's like a suburb of Toledo. Newcastle, Pasadena, Long Beach. Wilmington, Newburgh. Elgin, Rockford. Portland, Revere Beach. Yeah, and it might be the black folk that's looting, but it's like, why are they looting? Because of the poor treatment in this country. East Palo Alto, California, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Wichita, Kansas, and Erie, Pennsylvania. West Palm Beach, Denver, Colorado. Mob of approximately 400 blacks. Oof. Providence, Rhode Island. San Bernardino. Okay. Ain't that where that Grand Theft is? Well, looks like y'all see where it stemmed from. San Bernardino, Washington, D.C. Wyandanch, New York. Sandusky. That's where Cedar Point is at. Peoria, Wichita, Houston, Texas, Syracuse. New Haven, Connecticut. And that's it. Ladies and gentlemen, this was your long hot summer of 1967. Memphis. So I'm gonna read this and then you know how like you'll be doing something, right? Like you'll be doing a project like this. For those of that's into stuff like this. You know how you will be doing work like this, right? And then stuff will just start coming out, or stuff will just start like appearing at your doorstep, pretty much like, don't forget about this, type of thing. Or it could be the ancestors, bringing forth information saying, don't forget me, remember me. And so after I read this, I'm going to show two things that I did not have on the list Very important. Very important. But I did not have this on the list, which proves that this work is great, and it's going to take more than just one person. You see what the bills that they are trying to pass. Yeah, they have pretty much get rid of LGBTQIA or transgenders, but within the bill they're talking about all this race stuff, and they want to remove all this racial stuff out of the school, and you can't make it look like this type of thing. That's because these people do not want to face what they've done. They want to try to erase that blemish, but off of their, history, but it's not, because your history is full of that. So I'll read this, and then I want to show you two videos that are very important. And so this is the Memphis riot. And then if you go through my previous videos, I've shown riots in the past before, and I believe I've shown pictures from this very riot. In the late afternoon on May 1st, 1866, long broiling tensions between the residents of southern Memphis, Tennessee, erupted into a 3-day riot known as the Memphis Riot of 1866. The riot began when a white police officer attempted to arrest a black ex-soldier, and an estimated 50 blacks showed up to stop the police from jailing him. Accounts vary as to who began the shooting, but the altercation that ensued quickly involved more and more of the city. The victims initially were only black soldiers, but the violence quickly spread to other blacks living just south of Memphis, who were attacked while their homes, schools, and churches were destroyed. White Northerners who worked as missionaries and school teachers in black schools were also targeted. In an attempt to restore order, U.S. Army Commander George Stoneman ordered the black soldiers of the 3rd United States Colored. See? Do you see that word? That's what we were called. When we first came over here, they called us Ebo or Hebos. That's what they called us, Hebos, because we're Hebrew. But they called us Hebos. Over time, we got called colored, or Negro. I think it was Negro first, and then colored came. Then after colored, they called us black. Then after that, then came African American, quote unquote. Black soldiers of the 3rd United States Colored Heavy Artillery Regiment back to Fort Pickering just outside the city, and they obeyed. Nonetheless, the violence continued throughout the night as the targets now became the black civilians in the city. Memphis police and firemen openly participated in the violence riot. That's crazy. And looting, and as a result, the city's black citizens could not count on them to stop the attacks or put out the fires in the black neighborhoods. The conflict stretched into a second day when Memphis Mayor John Park refused to request state or federal assistance. On the afternoon of the 3rd day, General Stoneman declared martial law and sent black and white troops into the city to reestablish order. Within a month, a congressional committee arrived to investigate the riot. The investigation and interviews were thorough, but the report was controlled by the radical Republicans in Congress and used to gain support for Reconstruction policies. The national impact of the report was the rapid endorsement of the 14th Amendment to the Constitution, making all ex-slaves citizens, and the increasing of Republican majorities in Congress in the November 1866 elections. The report sought to show the vulnerability of Southern blacks immediately after the end of the Civil War, but it targeted Irish Southerners as their major threat as opposed to white Southerners in general. The report blamed the overwhelmingly Irish police force of Memphis as well as the black Irish competition for manual labor jobs for the underlying tensions that led to conflict. Yet it virtually ignored non-Irish the non-Irish whites who participated in the rioting and the role of black soldiers who before the fighting had been given responsibility for patrolling much of the city. The authority given to the black soldiers disturbed and discomforted many of Memphis white citizens who preferred that the newly freed slaves retain subordinate roles in their city. And see, that's another part. See, that's how you know this is Esau's kingdom. This is the white man's kingdom. So in their little war movies and stuff like that, that's why they always, Top Gun. Look at Top Gun, all those white pilots and stuff like that. But you're during like World War One and World War Two, it was black men. It was black people, black men, because we are the children of Israel, and black men are from the tribe of Judah. Judah is powerful, always have been. See, they won't give black men the credit that black men deserve, but they'll make little jokes about it, like like on South Park, Operation Send in the Negroes or something like that. But there's some truth to it because we was the ones that would go in and clear shit, and then here they come afterwards, tidying up, we the ones that clear the shit, and then so we do all the major work or all the killing and everything else. Then they come behind and they get the glory. Just it's the same way. And then, those guys will come back here thinking that, oh, they're gonna praise us. They're, we're finally gonna be accepted. And no. If not, that make them even more jealous of you. Make them even more jealous of you. And mad that you came back. By the end of May 3rd, Memphis black community had been devastated. 46 blacks had been killed, 2 whites died in the conflict, one as the result of an accident and another a policeman because of a self-inflicted gunshot. There were 5 rapes and 285 people were injured. Over 100 houses and buildings burned down as a result of the riot and the neglect of the firemen. No arrests were made, of course. Oh, sorry, wrong picture. Look, y'all, look. I've been talked about this. December 21st, 2017, I shared it to Facebook. I've talked about this picture a few different times. So, December 21st, 2017. So, see, this is in 2017. I've shared all of these to Facebook. I'm just going through. These are all the riots that I've talked about in the past. I'm going to talk about these.
Did you know that for 5 straight days in July 1969, white police officers and civilians hunted black people through the streets of York, Pennsylvania, like it was open season? This wasn't the South. This was the North, and it proved that Willie Lynch's blueprint for division worked everywhere in America. They killed civil rights activist Lily Bell Allen. They burned down entire black neighborhoods. And here's the twisted part. The National Guard was there the whole time, but they only protected the white areas.
See? You see? Just like it's a common theme. It's a common theme. It's still going on today. These people, they come in like it's that same situation with Toledo. How they let those Nazi people come there, they got their asses whooped, and then they came back and they let them go downtown, but they had 700 law enforcement personnel. And you think some of them out there wasn't out there to protect them? Like protect them. Like, no, I agree with them. These are my brother. We think alike. You think it wasn't none of that out there between them 700 law enforcement personnel?
White mobs roamed freely while black families barricaded themselves in their homes, praying they'd survive the night. The police didn't stop the violence. They joined it. For 5 days, Pennsylvania authorities coordinated racial terror while the media played the both sides game. Sound familiar? This northern race war.
See? The whites. So I'm going to put a different spin on it. Because white folk gonna hear this. See, you white folk, y'all carry out the dirty work. Y'all carry out the dirty work. You've been getting thrown under the bus the whole time. Did you hear what they just said? While the media plays both sides. Let's go down that rabbit hole. Wonder who owned the media at that time. Certainly wasn't black people. Wonder who. I mean, you had the white people out there doing the deeds. They was actually, quote unquote, putting in work. Right? That's what y'all was doing, right? Then fast forward to today when these Mexicans and the black folks, they be putting in work. And oftentimes it's one of y'all. Well, maybe you're getting karma. Because you was putting in work during this point in time. But who owned the media? Good question, right? Right.
Expose the truth. The psychological tactics of divide and conquer weren't regional. They were national policy. York proved that whether you were in Mississippi or Pennsylvania, the blueprint was the same. Pit groups against each other, then watch them destroy themselves while the system stays protected. The Willie Lynch method was alive and well in 1969.
When it says York proved whether you were in Mississippi or Pennsylvania, see, that's the biggest misconception. See, I'm a 90s kid and I grew up through the 90s. They made us believe that, oh no, all that stuff, that happened down south. That's down south. They're, when you go down south, they're racist down south. But see, up here, they just as racist. That's a psychology tactic that they use. They make us think that, oh, well, it's no racism up here. But as I'm reading, that's why this is important for our generations that are coming after us to let them know what happened, because they are trying to erase it. And, to be honest, and I'm going to keep on saying this, to be honest, I know some people in my own community will feel like I don't have the right to do this. I shouldn't be doing this. But then when you ask them that golden question, well, why aren't you doing it? Where's your work? The majority of them, it will be crickets, or they will come up with some type of excuse or some type of redirect or deflection, because they was too busy standing in the line paying $200+ for a goddamn ticket for some shoes. Okay? They know all the Jordans that's coming out, every color and the date. They know that. Okay? But they don't know this though. And so you got to realize they get mad because they put their values on different things that are futile. It's just futile for our people to focus on what the majority of our people focus on. But they do it. But it was racism all throughout the country, north, south, east, west, midwest. Okay? Northeast, northwest, southeast, southwest. It was everywhere. So I'll let it play straight through without me interrupting.
Did you know that for 5 straight days in July 1969, white police officers and civilians hunted black people through the streets of York, Pennsylvania, like it was open season? This wasn't the South. This was the North. And it proved that Willie Lynch's blueprint for division worked everywhere in America. They killed civil rights activist Lily Bell Allen. They burned down entire black neighborhoods. And here's the twisted part. The National Guard was there the whole time, but they only protected the white areas. White mobs roamed freely while black families barricaded themselves in their homes, praying they'd survive the night. The police didn't stop the violence. They joined it. For 5 days, Pennsylvania authorities coordinated racial terror while the media played the both sides game. Sound familiar? This Northern race war exposed the truth. The psychological tactics of divide and conquer weren't regional. They were national policy. York proved that whether you were in Mississippi or Pennsylvania, the blueprint was the same. Pit groups against each other, then watch them destroy themselves while the system stays protected. The Willie Lynch method was alive and well in 1969.
So, this one hurt. This one hurt. And I want to say I love this girl, Constant Carter. I love this woman. I love her content. Like, that's why I be saying, like, I love, like, her and Joy Reid, because I talk the way I talk, but it's like I will come across videos of people who say it in a nice and professional way. Although I can too, you gotta realize something. I talk like on the phones 8 hours a day, and I have to talk in a professional and upbeat and happy kind of tone. And so outside of that, I'm myself. But I definitely appreciate people who are doing the work as well, like Miss Carter here.
69 young black boys, sons, brothers, children, were locked away in what they called the Negro Boys Industrial School. But let's be real, it was a prison for kids, a place where black youth as young as 13 were caged up for things like stealing a bicycle, taking a hubcap, running away from abusive homes, or even just soaping windows on Halloween as a prank. These weren't hardened criminals. These were boys thrown into decaying institutions because they were black, poor, and unwanted by society. And on the night of March 5th, 1959, a fire broke out in their dormitory. These 69 boys were padlocked inside. No alarms, no guard ready to rescue them, no fire exits. They screamed, they pounded on the doors, they tried to break windows with their bare hands. 48 boys managed to smash their way out, but 21 never made it. They burned alive. Children left to die in the flames because someone decided their lives didn't matter. No adult was held responsible. No criminal charges were filed. The state called it benign neglect. But let me tell you, there was nothing benign about padlocking children inside a death trap. There was...
Oh, but remember the Holocaust, right? Every year, remember the Holocaust. And they've actually gotten money. You think any of the descendants of these young black boys? And I did a video where I said, young black boys are the least protected and the most disrespected. Because I could not find statistics like I could find for young black girls who've been essayed, which is 60%, 1 out of every 4. But there are no statistics like that for young black boys. This is what young black boys had to endure. This. You want to know why it's a shortage? This. You want to know why it's a shortage? War. You want to know why it's a shortage? Private prison industry. That's why. And nobody cared. Nobody.
Nothing accidental about putting kids in rotting buildings with no fire safety. This would never have been done to white children. That was deliberate. That was systemic. And it took almost 60 years before there was any memorial for them, while their mothers, fathers, sisters, and brothers lived their whole lives with that hole in their hearts. These children, some no older than 13, weren't monsters. They were kids who made mistakes. Kids who were hungry, kids who were poor. One of them was William Lloyd Piggy. He was locked up for riding a white boy's bike with his permission. This is how black childhood was criminalized. This is how black dreams were burned down before they could even grow. And family, this was 1959. My mama was alive in 1959, and maybe yours was too. This is not ancient history. These boys deserved protection, education, and a chance at redemption. Instead, they were padlocked, ignored, and left to die. Let me say this out loud. Their lives mattered. Their dreams mattered. They were more than statistics. They were our babies, our legacy, and our future. So today, we say their names in spirit. The 69 boys of
Frank Barnes, R.D. Brown, Jesse Carpenter Jr., Lindsey Cross, Henry Daniels, John Daniel, John Alfred George, Amos Geis, Roy Hedgewood, Willie C. Horner, O.F. Meadows, Willie Piggy, Roy Chester Powell, Cecil Preston, Charles R. Thomas, Carl E. Thornton, Johnny Tillison, Edward Tolston, Charles White, Willie Lee Williams. In memory of the 21 boys who perished in the fire at Arkansas's Negro Boys Industrial School, Wrightsville, Arkansas, March 5th, 1959.
We will not let you be erased. We will not let you be forgotten. Now drop a black fist in the comments and share this with someone who needs to hear this Black History gem.
Wait until you find out that those children that you use for gator bait, that those children that you let burn up in those industrial fires, wait until you find out that those were the babies of the children of Israel, the real Jews. Wait until you find out. I know you will laugh now, but see, you have to understand that laugh now, that's pride. And it wasn't until I was coming across a video. I'm sorry to get off topic, y'all know how I am. But I came across a video, right? I came across a video, and it was on. If you scroll on Facebook, sometimes you'll come across these videos with this like skeleton, and they be making them go to the time travel, go back in time and raise a baby T-Rex. I saw them on one video. Well, on one video, they said go back in time to warn the people of the Titanic. And so it kind of shocked me. It shocked me because he went back in time, right? And we all know that there was no Jack, there was no Rose, right? But On the Titanic, he did the movie version. So it went back in time. He tried to, the skeleton guy tried to warn the people that it was an iceberg, that it was going to come and that the boat was going to hit the iceberg. And the people laughed at him. People laughed at him. And I said, dang, that's just how they did Noah. That's just how they did Noah. And then one of the guys on the video said to him, oh, this ship is unsinkable. But see, that is the white man's pride. See, the white man, they don't understand how against God they have been. I don't care how they sit in their little churches and, oh, this is wrong. And no, you don't understand how throughout history you have been against God. You make these structures and you say, oh, not even God can do such and such. It's your pride. And every time he shows you, he show you who God is. Where is the Titanic at?
RMS Titanic, Inc. Since 1987, RMS Titanic, Inc. has led 9 expeditions to the Titanic wreck site, located 12,500 feet below the surface of the North Atlantic Ocean.
Glub, glub, glub. Bye. Not to shit on the victims. Not to. I'm not doing that. I am shitting on the white man's pride. And when he gets to boasting and bragging, oh, this boat is unsinkable. I guarantee you, it's no shade, but I guarantee you, if you would have told a lot of those people who were victims on 9/11 that 2 planes was gonna hit the building, they would have still went to work. I'm not shaming the victims who are no longer here. You have to. It's like that. You know what this is like? This conversation that we need to have. Have you ever seen that movie For Color Girls? Remember when Felicia Rashad character had to have that talk with Kimberly Elise's character? Baby, you have to take some responsibility in this. And you have to pick up and move on and live your life. Still, for your children, your kids will want you to get up out of that, from that couch or whatever she was laying on. Same here. Yes, I know it hurt. Every time I think about 9/11, I think about that black lady, a flight attendant. I think about her. I've even played her her last message, to her family. And it's just like that. It burns me up. It makes me mad as hell, because she did not deserve that. None of them deserve that. But what I'm saying is, there is a pride in America where that'll never happen. Oh, that'll never happen. That 2 planes, arrest this guy. It's ridiculous. It'll never happen. This is America. America. This is America. America. That'll never happen. Then what happened? The shit happens. Then everybody, oh my God, how did this happen? When? How? How did this happen? It's like, bitch, it's been signs in your face this whole motherfucking time. It's like I've been saying this for years. It's like, stuff has to happen for Americans to see it. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. This is why there's so many unsolved rape and child SA cases here, because people don't want to believe. But that's another story, especially for you people in the church. Another story though. Another time, another place. I talk about that in my previous videos too, just a plug if you ever want to check it out, you want to check it out, just want to check it out. But that's the spirit of especially the white man in America. Oh, she'll never sink. It'll never happen here. Okay. You see what these motherfuckers just did to Iran, right? And then you see how his bitch ass tried to reach out through Italy. That's how you know he a bitch. It's like you do some foul shit, now you reaching out from somebody else. Like, that is so coward. When you had no reason to attack these people in the first place and you think they ain't gonna do nothing back. But you know what? Y'all so distracted by your NBA and your NFL and your LeBron James and your Steph Curry and, your Pittsburgh Steelers stats from 1995. And your NASCAR. That's what you care about. That's what you care about. That's why it's so easy to fool you in the church and in the public. Now you got all these maggots talking about now you got Nick Fuentes telling people, vote Democrat. What? What? Are you serious? Are you crazy? Vote Democrat. What? So what happened to why couldn't you believe this from these people when these people was telling you this whole time about this man? You saw the signs, you saw the flags. Should you have a platform? Should you have a platform? Because you obviously don't know what you're talking about. You obviously led these people down the wrong path. And now it's so bad that you're telling them to vote Democrat. I know in a million years that man, I think he's a man, I know that he would never expect those words to come out of his mouth. Even in this though, your horns, your racism is showing, because the main problem with these people is they cannot take accountability. They can't take accountability for their actions and for the shit that they do, and their jealousy and their hatred towards their brother. That's right. And both of these brothers, Jacob, who is black people, and Esau, who is white people, neither one of them wants to come to terms with that. Neither one. Black people don't want to understand that they the children of Israel, and we've never kept our end of the bargain that we made with Moses as our liaison between us and the Most High. We've never, I don't care how much you goddamn Pentecostals, I don't care how much you shout, you raggedy church of garbage and crisis, you Baptistanes, you meth heads, and you pressed bitches. I do not care how you shout, you hoop, you holler, and you sing. Okay? I don't care. All of that, and we still ain't never kept our end of the bargain. We still have not kept our end of the covenant. But the Most High has delivered time and time and time and time again. That's why we in this situation. That's why. And he uses white folk as a spiritual belt against us to punish us and to also provoke us into jealousy. These people are idiots. These people are idiots. You see it. Even, baby, they not even smarter than Pookie. Okay? Y'all, we clown Pookie and Ray Ray and Boom Squeesha and Tyquisha and Shanae. We clown them, but let me tell you something. Even you going to find out, even their best does not even amount to Pookie or Ray Ray or Boom Squeesha or Tyquisha don't even amount to them. Yeah, they might be ghetto and all of this, but them people is even worse. Even worse. They just have the quote unquote the look and the money. You know how they got that money? Because they stole it from us. They stole it. They thieves. This is Esau. Go back, read it. Genesis 25, chapter 25, read it. Genesis 27, read it. Genesis 27 and 41, read it. This is what they've been doing. Everything that I'm reading here. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. This wrong scripture. This for you brothers and you men's with the pull-out game. They think your pull-out game is, you see what God did to Onan, right? Oh, okay. Because he pulled out and spilled it on the ground, right? So you think your pull-out game is safe, and actually you're in sin. You better check yourself, but this is not the verse that we're looking for right here. Genesis 27, verse 41. And President Trump hated Obama because of the blessing. What's the blessing? What's the blessing? Being cool, having charm, having intelligence, being loved by the people. All the things that Trump is not, and what Obama is. And I use them too because everybody know, especially for my people, everybody know how Trump is jealous of Obama. He hates Obama so much. That man hates Obama so much that he would rip up the Iranian nuclear policy. just and thinking he's spiting Obama, and he's not. You're spiting this country. You're spiting your followers. You're spiting the people that look like you, because them Iranians, they know we don't. They know the black folks. We don't hate them, not at all. I've seen like a black person that was going over there traveling. They don't hate black people. I mean, they might, yes, there's racism there, but they know that we are not the ones doing this stuff to them. We are not the ones that's doing this to them. It's the people that look like Dump. And a lot of these people who look like us and are brown like us and are melanated like us, they're coming to the same conclusion about these people. You problem in world. Everywhere you go, destruction. And y'all gonna really flip when you find out that your boy Milkowski, who changed his name to Netanyahu, when you find out that him and Dump, I call Trump Dump, him and Dump, they're the same people. They come from the same ancestor, Esau. They both come from the same person, same progenitor, Esau. And this is what Esau said. You need to understand this. This is going back to the Bible. That's why you don't understand it today. Y'all love to talk about the Bible. You love the Bible and you love the Bible until somebody pulls it out and teaches it in a way you've never heard it before. Then that person is your enemy. But I'm telling you, in the end, you're going to see it. You're going to see it. This is what the plan was. Every one of these 544 things, atrocities that I'm reading to you. Right here. This is what it is. 41. Right here. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then I will slay my brother Jacob. And this is what they've been doing. You have to stop focusing on their words and look at their actions. See, they come at you with smooth words and smooth tones. But you don't see that they have a knife behind their back. And when you look the other way, they're going to pull it out and stab you right in the neck. That's how they do. Because they know that they cannot engage us. You have to understand, these people know that they cannot engage us head on. Yeah, we not our ancestors. We not just going to lock ourselves in the house. No, that's not going to happen. And they know this too. So it's psychological. Okay? That's what's going on here. Y'all black people refuse to see it. You refuse to see it. And in the end, you are going to understand, dang, we was beat down so bad that yes, we are great people, but we was beat down and stripped of our heritage, of our language, our culture, our identity. Wow. We really are the children of Israel. That's what you're gonna the conclusion that you're gonna come to. It's so many people it's people out here still thinking that we come from Ham. Like, that's so funny to me. Like, baby, you're lost in the sauce. We don't come from Ham. And I'm not sorry about that. But this is what it is right here. This is what it is. And I'm sorry if y'all hear me walking. Y'all know I pace. But this is what it is. Look, going up to verse 39. Isaac his father answered him and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth. Ain't these white folk the fatness of the earth? And the dew of heaven from above. But see, you gotta understand how they would get it. This is how they would get it. And by thy sword shalt thou live. The gun, the missiles, the nuclear, the sword, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass when thou shalt have dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. So, because at one point in time, we was over them. We ruled the dark ages. This is why it's important to know your history instead of always wanting to know about Candy and Todd. You know that. Oh, you got that down pat. You knew Nene was coming back. Oh, you knew it. Okay? You knew that. You know, but do you know this? Do you know this? Let me hip it to you for you people that think you know scriptures in these pews. Yeah, I said it, think you know. Knowing this is the extra oil that you're going to need on your journey. Remember the 10 handmaidens? Remember? This is the extra oil. And I'm going to leave it right there. For those who have ears, let them hear. For those who have eyes, let them see. This is the extra oil. This is what they do. Liars. Deceivers.
Donald Trump lies. His administration lie. They lie so much and they want us to believe the lies. They want us to believe the lies over what we actually see with our own.
And they get mad when we don't. They get mad because we don't believe their lies. That's how you know these people is crazy. How you mad at me because I don't believe your lie? And it's not like I had my back turned. I had my back turned, or I wasn't there and I just walked up and here you come ready to lie. So I ain't got no proof. I saw the shit myself with my own eyes. It's like I can't even I was gonna use a thing like it's just like somebody shooting you and then say, no, it wasn't me that shot you. It was this person. But we see what happened with Alex Pretty. Rest in peace. And Renee Good, rest in peace. We seen it. Like, I see you. Do you know I see you? My eyes work. 20/20 vision. In the natural.
Eyes. That's diabolical. That is psychological manipulation. And that's been going on since the inception of this country.
We ain't gonna talk about the other vision. It's none of your damn business.
But thanks to social media, we see how brainwashed these people really are. It's deep-rooted, and Donald Trump has given voice to their delusion because it aligns with their beliefs, no matter how distorted. But let's talk about some clear, obvious ways that Donald Trump has consistently lied and expected us to believe his lies over our own eyes. January 6th, the lie. Peaceful protesters, patriots. The reality, we watched the Capitol be breached and police beaten. Hundreds were convicted. Number 2, Charlottesville. The lie. Very fine people on both sides. The reality, white supremacists marched and a woman was killed. Number 3, the Central Park 5. The lie, guilty, deserved, execution. The reality, the DNA proved innocence. No apology. In fact, he doubled down. Number 4, birtherism. The lie, Obama was not an American. The reality, that was proven false. The goal was to delegitimize black leadership. Number 5, COVID. The lie, oh, it's going to disappear, and it was under control. The reality, over 1 million Americans died. Black communities were hit the hardest. Number 6, Puerto Rico. The lie, oh, the response was incredible. The deaths are being exaggerated. The reality, thousands died and aid was delayed. Number 7, South Africa. The lie, white farmers are being genocided. Reality, no data supported this. The fear was manufactured. Number 8, the Minneapolis ICE murder. The lie, she was a radical leftist and she tried to run over ICE. The agent was nearly killed. The reality, we can see clearly in the video, his life was not in danger. The car did not touch him. ICE escalated it, and then they rewrote the story. But let's be clear. This didn't start with Donald Trump. This has been happening since the inception of this country. Lies have always been used to control narratives, justify harm, and maintain power. We see how facts don't even matter to people who are committed to belief over the actual truth. Donald didn't create that illusion. He gave it a microphone and permission. He gave people the confidence to proudly and wholeheartedly believe the lie. And as I sit and listen to people on both sides, one thing is clear. Truth don't matter when it's in front of them, because when people are conditioned, the truth is distorted. Black history shows us exactly where that leads. We were told black people were inferior. Slavery was justified. We were told black men were predators. Lynching was justified. We were told black communities were criminal. Mass incarceration was justified. Every lie shaped policy. Every lie shaped public opinion. Every lie still impacts our lives. This is why we gotta stay woke, because when lies are repeated long enough, they stop sounding like lies and they become someone's wholehearted truth. Now drop a black fist.
Look at this shit right here. Look at this. Look at what you've done to your children. Look at what you've done to your children. And that is just so crazy to me, because on the day of judgment, you are going to stand there and you're going to be shown you instilled seeds of hate into your children. Look at what you dressed your child up as. You've dressed your child up as a dunce. You've dressed a child up as a dunce. Oh, and I know. Hey, I can't tell you, because you white, so you right? But the shade is, the crazy thing is that God is going to tell you. And then it's going to be too late. It's going to be too late. Because he's going to tell you, no. You seen those videos. You saw those videos. That was me warning you then. Wait until you stand in judgment for not only what you did against the children, the babies of the real Jews, but look at what you did to your own. If it wasn't this, you was essaying them as altar boys and your Boy Scouts and then your Cub Scouts. You were essaying them. Even your own children. You're going to pay for that. You're going to pay for that. Because, as you know, many of you have gotten away with a lot of this. But God saw it all. Well, while we're here, we might as well view this one. If this this is another video that I use to show the Jacob and Esau thing, where Esau is so jealous of Jacob. He's so jealous that he can't even mind his own business. Gotta know how they get to drive a Lexus. Because instead of worrying about your cracker ass, he was doing his work. Instead of sitting up being nosy, wondering what's going on in your neighborhood or in your household, like your people do to us, the man driving the Lexus was working, trying to make a living, while you was, essaying young children, being the predators that you are.
Yes. Brand spanking new Lexus SUV.
Listen to him. Just a hater. A hater.
This is what a MAGA mind is.
Brand spanking new Lexus SUV. How is that possible? Integrate into the same neighborhood that I worked my entire life to get into. I don't understand it. Here's this guy right here. This brand new Lexus.
There he is, right there.
That guy right there.
It's what Make America Great Again has always meant to certain people. It's never been about patriotism. It's always been about hierarchy, about...
I wonder, does that white couple, have they ever seen this video and realized, like, y'all come off like some hating ass people. Like, you came off like a total hater. Like, the jealousy is pouring from your sunburnt Neanderthal skin. And your horns are showing. It's crazy.
That guy right
It's
there.
what Make America Great Again has always meant to certain people. It's never been about patriotism. It's always been about hierarchy, about making sure black people stay in a place that makes them comfortable. Because let's be honest, imagine living in a country where 400 years you receive every privilege available. Free labor for almost 2 centuries, millions of acres of free land through the Homestead Act, government assistance when black folks were excluded, white veterans received GI Bills and attended college when black veterans who served the country faithfully did not, white home ownership through FHA loans that black people didn't get while black families were redlined into poverty. There was affirmative action for white folks long before the phrase was ever even created. Let me name a few more. tax benefits, union protections, government contracts, Social Security programs that originally excluded black labor, corporate subsidies, banking systems built on predatory denial of black access, policing designed to guard white prosperity, and the unspoken privilege of always being seen and deserving, and all that for generations. And yet here we are, after everything designed to hold us back, we still here. It makes them a failure. We're still educating ourselves, still building businesses. It makes them a failure. Still growing wealth, still buying homes, still pulling up in our Lexuses. That makes them a failure. We still thrive in the ways this country has never planned for us to thrive. And it makes them feel like failures. Because that's what they are. That's why it bothers them. Because to them, our success is what it is. It makes them failures. They feel better when they can look down on us. They feel safer when we have to struggle. They feel whole when we are broken. So when they say make America great again, what they are really saying is let's go back and reset the hierarchy. Let's put them back in their place, which is beneath us. Let's strip away any progress that they've made. Let's take away all their rights, all their opportunities, all the wins that make them feel equal. Because for us to feel equal, it makes them feel like failures. Because they've had every advancement known to man, and yet here we are, and that's why our excellence is so powerful, y'all. Because every time we disrupt the narrative they depended on for 400 years, every time we win and we break the system that was never designed for us to succeed, every time we shine, we expose the weakness of a structure built on stolen labor, stolen land, and stolen wealth. It's their failure. This is why our success is revolutionary. It's not just about your car, your house, or your lifestyle. It's a reminder that despite every barrier placed in our way, we still here, thriving, winning, and redefining greatness in our terms. And they're still what they are. Failures. Now drop a black fist in the comments and share this with someone who needs to hear.
But why? How have we still showed up? Who made it possible? The Most High. Because even in our punishment, he told us that he will be with us to the end of the earth. So he's still, even though, we are in our captivity, the last captivity, he's still been merciful. Still has been there for us. And, we do lightweight, control our own path, because you can either, sink, just give up, or you can swim. And yeah, you might, it's like a chase. You a seal and you being chased by a shark or an orca, yeah. But we make it to safety every time because of the Most High. Everything that she talked about, our excellence, is because of the Most High. Yes, Deuteronomy 28, 43 and 44. Yes, we are under that curse. But how many of us are homeowners? That's the grace. That's the grace of God. Of not giving us fully what we truly deserve. Because if God had not had his hand over us, we would have been wiped out by now. But the Most High is not going to let that happen, and has not. This was one of my favorite videos from her. I've played this in a few of my other videos. I love this video. It shows you can see the jealousy. I hope they notice how I use, a lot of black women's content. So when you see my other videos, make sure you keep that in mind. I'm grateful for black women because black women are queens. And they are intelligent. They are beautiful. And you are loved. Even though a lot of y'all feel like you're not. But you are.
Here's the plot twist of the year. The Trump administration killed DEI to protect white men. And now white men are the ones disappearing from universities. You heard that right. The data is in, and the steepest enrollment declines across the country are happening among white male students, especially those from first generation, working class, and lower income backgrounds. At Brown University, the numbers tell the story clearly. Male applications are dropping. The gender gap is widening, and interest from young men who don't come from privilege is thinning out fast for one simple reason. See, when the Trump administration dismantled DEI, they thought they were targeting programs for Black and Brown students. However, they inadvertently destroyed the very infrastructure that helped first-gen, working class, and lower-income students of every race find their way into higher education. See,
and they're not going to see that until the end. They're not going to see how they have cut their nose to spite their face. They're not going to see this stuff until it's too late. Your racism and your hatred has caused you greatly. Because Black folk, we are going to survive. We are. The Most High is going to cover us, his people. Just like he did in the Great Depression. When them white folks was going crazy, but Black folks still had money somehow. Enough to keep Cadillac afloat. Right? Don't ever put God in a box.
Offices ran the outreach that brought these students into the pipeline. They provided the advising and mentoring for kids whose parents never went to college. They built partnerships with local schools and community programs that supported students without legacy connections. They were the first stop for anyone, not just Black and Brown students, who needed clarity in a system designed for those who already had a roadmap. Take all of that away, every bridge, every guide, every point of access, and the students who depended on it fall first. And right now, that's young white men without privilege. So let's be very clear. DEI was not about special treatment. It was about structure, about navigation. It was the scaffolding that kept the entire system standing.
You know who gonna turn this country out? You know who gonna do? The young white men without privilege. So you gotta understand. That is the majority of President Dump's base. That's the one. Those are the ones who are in the trenches doing the work. And see, they were swindled. They were sweet talked by a slick willy businessman. Who's bad at doing business. And he conned them. And they believed it like dummies. They believed it. They believed it because of their hatred for Black folk. Their underlying hatred. It's that Genesis 27 verse 41 stuff. That's why they voted for him. So they're going to be the ones right out there again, just like on January 6th. They're going to be the ones to the white man who don't have any privilege. See, they were used. They thought because of the color of their skin that they were on the same level as Muskie or Musty Boy and Dump. They thought they were on their level. Now they're finding out they don't give a fuck about them. They just use them. Just like Fuentes is using them. Just like Kirk used them. You know. Just like all they by the end, they gonna see they got fucked more than Black people actually. And didn't even know they was getting fucked.
Rip out the scaffolding the whole ecosystem destabilizes. And the collapse doesn't stop at the students conservatives meant to target. It spills into the very communities they claimed they were defending. This is what happens when policy is driven by resentment instead of reality. You don't create fairness, you create confusion, you create chaos. And you create consequences you cannot spin away. These enrollment trends aren't an accident. They're a warning. And if the Trump administration keeps dismantling access, white men are going to find themselves shut out of the very system they have always been told was built exclusively for them.
I love Joy Reid. I do. And so I'm sharing this, fair use, I'm sharing this because if you watch the last video, which is I know is quite long, but if you watch the last video, I talked about a lot of in my previous videos. I talked a lot about what's going on. Some of the stuff that Joy Reid is talking about, I've talked about as well. And so, you know, hey, this is the more quote unquote educated, you know, with no profanity. But a lot of the stuff that she said here, I have said.
Moment.
Joy, I'm so sorry. I do have to drop off in a minute or two.
No worries, no worries. I will keep you for one more minute and then I will let you go. For you, is there a way to separate Donald Trump? Have you seen any strategic way to put daylight between Netanyahu and Trump, given that he's so influential over him?
There is, and we have seen moments in which there's been clear daylight and Trump has acted on it. The problem is he never sustains it. Back in the June war, the Israelis wanted Trump to continue to bomb. They didn't just want to see a bombing of one or two nuclear facilities. They wanted the U.S. to fully engage, and Trump didn't. The Israelis obviously didn't want to have the ceasefire. At this point, it's not much of a ceasefire, but nevertheless, Trump pushed that onto them. But whenever he does it, very quickly thereafter, he starts letting up the pressure on Israel, and eventually the Israelis manage to transform wherever decision he forced onto them into nothing.
Okay, so the reason why that happens is because I'm going to tell you, I've been telling you on previous videos that false imposter state has one testicle of dumps and Russia has the other one. Russia doesn't have to squeeze too hard because Israel is doing a fine job. They got him by the balls. They got something. Whether it's blackmail, whatever, I don't know. I don't care. But we both see this. Joy Reid is educated. She has degrees. She has, she's it. How is this educated black queen and me coming to the same conclusion? I just cuss. I just cuss. But we still coming to the same conclusion. And I want to say that the reason why he does that is because he knows that the American public is watching him. He knows this. And so when he does that, okay, I'm gonna throw this out at him. But then I'm going to ease up because I have to make it look like to the American public that I'm still in control. But I'm not in control. And all of this is being discussed when Mildew, that's his name, Mildew. When Mildew comes here, he's been here about 8 different times now. Yeah, all of that is being discussed. Well, okay, we'll do this, but I gotta, at some point, I gotta make it seem like, okay, this is it, and, then I'll ease up and, we resume the plan. Oh, yeah, and they're gonna go through with it. But see, at the end, what he don't realize is that when they got everything that they want, they're gonna turn around and Judas America. That's what's gonna happen. It's going to be that case of, okay, I'm up, so I don't need you no more. I don't need you. I used you to get to the level that I needed. And now I don't need you no more. And I'm just telling you like it is. It's happened to me so many times. I can recognize it a mile away. I can recognize it a mile away because it's happened to me so many times. Oh, I don't need you no more. So I'm going to go over here with these new friends. Or this person that I've been talking to behind your back and screwing. I got what I wanted out of you, so now I'm up. I don't need you no more. That's kind of what it's like with Amessica and Israel. That's what's gonna happen. And what this guy just said, how he'll start, like to cease gunfire, but then he'll ease up on it because he has to make it seem like to the American public, who's not the most intelligent, that, oh no, I'm in control, but really he's not. He's not in control.
Same thing. After June, he claimed that he had obliterated the Iranian nuclear program. Everyone knew it was a lie, but it was something that he was saying to say, this topic, this issue is off my desk.
See?
It's resolved. I'm not going to deal with it any longer. Well, 6 months later, Netanyahu comes back to the White House, and there we are. Once again, Trump is falling for it. So even when he does push back, he doesn't sustain it, and Netanyahu finds a way to come back in.
See?
Sridhar Parsi, no greater expert on this region. Thank you very much. I truly
Thank you so much for having me.
Have a great day. And there we have it, everyone. Thank you. Donald Trump cannot escape from the grasp of Bibi Netanyahu. Every time it seems that he has escaped from his grasp.
Go ahead, Joy. Grasp of what? Grasp of them nuts. They gotta buy the balls. Just keeping it real.
He simply falls back in. And it really does beg the question, right? It begs the question for me, why is it that Donald Trump cannot resist doing whatever it is that Netanyahu says? As I've mentioned before, Netanyahu has tried to get president after president after president to do what he says, to obey him and start a war in the region with Iran and also with Iraq. Jason, if you can pull A5, this was the last time that Bibi Netanyahu was successful in convincing an American president to do a war in the region that he wanted, but that he wanted U.S. troops to fight for him.
Whatsoever that Saddam is seeking and is working and is advancing towards the development of nuclear weapons. No question whatsoever. And there is no question that once he acquires it, history shifts immediately.
That was a lie. Saddam Hussein did not have nuclear weapons. What he did have were chemical weapons. And the reason we know they had chemical weapons is that the U.S. gave him chemical weapons. When Saddam Hussein was our dictator, doing our bidding and operating the way we wanted, we effectively backed him in his war against Iran. You will recall that Iran and Iraq went to war and the U.S. was on the side of Iraq. We gave him chemical weapons with which to bomb Iran. Iraq was not able, even with U.S. military support and chemical weapons we gave him, not able to defeat Iran. Because again, Iran is a much more formidable country than Iraq. Its military is more formidable and their society was more cohesive and formidable. They were not willing to be defeated by the little duchy colony created by Europe in their region. And so Iran won. Effectively, they fought them to a stalemate, despite we having given chemical weapons. When we came back to Iraq after Saddam Hussein, who was in the minority sect, he wasn't even a proper Sunni, he was an Alawite Sunni, which is a tiny sect of Sunni. So he was considered not like the most of the country. He was a minority government, basically. The majority of the country are Shiites, and this Sunni Alawite was leading them, and they considered him an apostate and didn't want him to be their leader. And so when he decided that he wasn't going to play ball with the United States anymore, and we decided to knock him off, blaming him for having the weapons we gave him, and then lying and saying he also was developing nuclear weapons, which he wasn't. The people who wound up taking over Iraq effectively were Iran. The main Ayatollah, the sort of baby Ayatollah in Iran, became the main Ayatollah of Iraq, because we basically handed Iraq over to Iran by fighting them. And all we got out of it were refugees and the existence of something called ISIS, a terrorist group that was created because after we tortured people and put Iraqis in gulags in their own country and left them to languish there, the people who came out of those gulags formed ISIS. They became, or ISIL as sometimes they're called, because the Levant is the L in ISIS, right? So we effectively are the reason that there's an ISIS, a terrorist group that came out of the gulags we created when we were torturing Iraqis to try to get them to lie and claim that their dictator, Saddam Hussein, had nukes. We also tortured people in Guantanamo Bay prison to try to get them to lie and cover up the lie that Iraq had nuclear weapons, which they didn't.
Notice I'm not saying much, right? Because that's why I love Joy Reid, because like everything that she's saying is true. Like that's why I'm not saying much, because it's like everything that she's telling you is the truth. This is what happened. They sent your sons, your daughters into war for nothing. And we're going into, because I read the Bible, and so I always wonder how it would, it would start off, like, because I know what's going to happen, but just, when it's like, yeah, but how, who gonna kick it off, and how is it gonna get kicked off? I mean, years from now we'll find out, well, they were blackmailing him. It'll probably come out after he, up out of here. The one last poop in that shitty diaper. So then we'll find out, oh, they were blackmailing him. But everything she's telling you is real.
Aren't there a lot of people still there?
Of course, we still have people
there
in Guantanamo Bay, because we can't try them because we tortured them. And once you torture people, you can't put them on trial, because everything they say, they said through torture. So they're untriable. They simply have to languish in our gulag in Cuba and Guantanamo Bay forever. And Bibi Netanyahu has been playing us since then. He played us into a war in Iraq that we never should have engaged in, that had nothing to do with 9/11. Saddam Hussein had nothing to do with Al Qaeda, because once again, he was not a Sunni of the sect of the Al Qaeda people who were Sunni extremists. He was an Alawite who they considered an apostate. They would have never allied with him. They would have chopped his head off if they'd gotten their hands on Saddam Hussein. But we pretended that this Alawite Sunni from a small sect, they considered him, again, that he was partnering with Al Qaeda, which just wasn't true. But we tortured people to try to make that seem true, to get people to say it was true. George W. Bush was the idiot American president who did that, who got suckered in part by Bibi Netanyahu to attack Iraq. And now you've had this new fool, Donald Trump, allow Bibi Netanyahu, after 6 visits, every other month he was in the White House yapping in the ear of Donald Trump. And so now our president, through whatever it is that Bibi Netanyahu was able to whisper in his ear,
y'all president,
has now put us in the position of going to war with not Iraq, but the country that Iraq could not defeat even with our chemical weapons. A country that is they've never been subjugated. They are an unsubjugated former empire.
Hello. Do you know who this is? This is the Medo-Persian Empire. Okay? This is not Iraq. And I'm going to tell you something. I don't know if Joy knows this or not. But these guys are a different sect of Muslims. So they have a prophecy, right? They have a prophecy where they're waiting on their 13th imam or something like that. And so they count the 12 as like the disciples, but the 13th one is Christ. And so what that means is they know that it's their people who is the one part of the battle of Armageddon. They know, put it like this, they know they part in Armageddon. They know what they're supposed to do. They know that they usher in what they call their 13th Iman, but really it's the 13th disciple, Christ. The World War III is a holy war. It's a holy war. It's the everything. It's the everything war. It's the missiles, yes. It's the gunfire, yes. But it's also the holy war, the spiritual war. Because in the 5D, baby, they're going to be warring. And to my spiritual people that do tarot, and to my real ones, not to you fake ones. I'm telling you, fake tarot readers, and you fake seers, and you fake prophets, it's going to come a time when you're going to be doing your due, and you're going to pass right out. Because you're not real. Like, what your craft is not, that's what it is, craft. But to my real ones, you are going to see, we already seeing it now, a uptick. I know y'all seeing the orbs. I know you are. I see them. Out the corner of your eye. I know you see the shadows. I see them. The energy. I see it. Out the corner of the eye, stuff moving. I see it. Get ready. Because it's going to be an uptick. Spiritual activity, spiritual warfare. What you've been preparing for this whole time. It's getting ready. We always talk about the veil being thin and all of this. Baby, get ready for the veil to be torn, to be split. Get ready. These people know that they know their path. They know that they are the part of they know that they're the part of whatever they got to do is going to usher in their 13th Iman. Different belief, yes, but it's different from those other, Islamic people. Because they still, some of them still deal with what they were dealing with before the Catholic Church stepped in and created what Islam is today. So yes, they know. That's why when he offered a ceasefire, you see they rejected it, right? Okay.
I play for you Jeffrey Sachs. He's a Columbia University professor who is an expert in the region. And he has some thoughts about why we're doing this. And Jason, this is A6, if we could.
Never been about nuclear weapons. This has been about it. regional hegemony in the Middle East. Israel wants to topple the Iranian regime. Period. It has said so. This is not a mystery. This is not my claim. This is Israeli policy repeated year in, year out. The whole idea that Trump is negotiating to prevent Iran from getting a nuclear weapon, that was negotiated. Trump ripped it up. The Iranians have come back every year to say, we don't want a nuclear weapon. We want negotiations. The United States does not accept yes for an answer because it works for the government of Israel. This is the point. Why does it work for the government of Israel? It's a little hard to understand. Maybe because it's of Mike Hucklebee's parishioners, because of people who read the Bible and say, okay, that's our foreign policy. That's possible.
Huckabee.
It may be because of what's in the Epstein files that haven't been released. It may be blackmail. It may be corruption. It may be many other things, but it is not about America's interests.
It's not.
We have no interest whatsoever in going to a war with Iran right now. If there is such a war, it's a war because Israel has told the United States what to do. And that raises a question. Why has the United States done what Israel has told the United States to do for 30 years? And I don't just mean about Iran. I mean across the Middle East.
It is the question. Is the question.
Well, I keep telling you. I keep telling you. I keep telling you. The plan, this was the plan. The plan was to remove the real Jews. Who are the real Jews? This black melanated queen that you see sitting right in front of you. That's the real Jew. Look at how intelligent she is. Look at how intelligent this daughter of Zion is. God, her father, whether she believe in God, whether she believe in God in the way I believe in God, whether she knows that she's a true Israelite or not, she has the wisdom. That wisdom, maybe not of the scriptures, but she's intelligent, she's smart, and even sometimes what I be telling people in the Hebrew community is, no, they might not know, their scriptures, and they might not know the Bible is their history book, and they might not know what we know. But what you gotta understand is the Most High has a Joy Reid in place. The Most High has, this thing is a puzzle. We are a body. We are a body. And he has his people in place. You see, she knew all of that. She was able to put all of that about the Iraq war and all of that. We have people in place that's going to be able to testify the way that she's testifying. No, this is what happened. This is how it went down. And he has people in place like this. She's still Israel. Does she know Christ? I don't know. I can't tell, what she know or what she don't know. Has she heard, black people being Israelites? I'm sure she has. I just hope that, if she saw those brothers on the corner making white women kiss their boots, we all are not like that. I do not believe in anything like that. I do not believe in that. I believe in Christ. I have not kissed the boots of Christ, even though I am an Israelite. And my people was chosen above all people. But guess what? My people have sinned, just like I have sinned. There's only one that's good, and that's the Father. So therefore, no one is kissing my boots, because I have not kissed the boots of Christ yet. It's a hierarchy, a pecking order. So, if she has came across Israelites, I'm sure it's the ones who get all the attention, and they say these radical things that, like, I don't believe all white people are going to hell. Even though, hey, you hear how I talk, but I'm not dense to the point where I cannot recognize that there are some good white folk. It is. There are. Even doing this project, I'm telling you about all the white people that helped along the Underground Railroad. Those are Gentiles, real ones. Joe Webinon is a demon. That's a white devil. That's not a Gentile. He's not a quote-unquote Christian. He's a white supremacist. Along with Huckabee. Huckabee is a white supremacist. He is the reason why your black pastor has been led astray. Men like him, seminary theologian, men like him, taught our pastors who are the same color and look like Joy, but a male version, meaning they're black. They taught our black pastors wrong on purpose. So, like I said, I don't believe all white people are going to hell. Amos 9:12, Isaiah 14:1-2 does not say that. Oh, but I do recognize that there's only going to be a slither of y'all. It ain't going to be a lot. It's not going to be a lot. It's not. And you know why? Because when Christ cracked the clouds and you see that color that's probably a little bit darker than Joy Reid. Christ ain't my color. He's a Joy Reid color and darker. When they see that, the shame is going to eat them alive. The shame, the guilt, it's going to be unbearable. At that moment, they'll be faced with nothing but the truth that they cannot deflect from. Christ is black, a Negro, same color as Joy Reid, dark skin like Joy Reid, dark skin. You want to say olive? Okay, black olive. How you like that? Oh, he was olive tone. Black olive. Black olive. I've never seen a green person. Unless you white folk, unless you get sick, then you turn green. But other than that, I've never seen a green person and don't want to. I know I do my gazoo voice. Hey, dum-dum. But I definitely don't want to see no green people. Okay? So when I hear olive, black olive. When they see him and he looks like that, and his hair, is similar to a Joy Reid's hair texture, they're gonna know. Uh-oh, we're in trouble. So that's what it is.
Israel is in theory our client state. We fund their education system. We fund their healthcare system. We fund their military. We provide them the bombs with which they have committed genocide. We provided the military equipment with which Bibi Netanyahu has committed war crimes. We give them the money that sustains everything about their nation and their economy and their regional hegemony in the Middle East. And yet it appears that the tail is now wagging the dog. It appears that we are the client, they are the boss, that they are the trainer, and Trump is the trainee. Trump is the apprentice. And I do not understand why. And Trump is the trainee. Trump is the trainee. Trump is the trainee. And Trump is the trainee. Trump. And yet it appears that the tail is now.
Sorry, Joy, but only T.S. Madison will understand that. Trump is the trainee. And then on a few videos ago, I said he looked like a transgender. But Joy is not saying he's transgender. I'm just using a play on words on what Joy said, because if I ain't gonna go all the way into it, but it was just a little inside joke.
Wagging the dog. It appears that we are the client, they are the boss, that they are the trainer, and Trump is the trainee. Trump is the apprentice. And I do not understand why. Israel, to the comment there, wants to be the superpower in the region. And the biggest two threats to their hegemony are Saudi Arabia and Iran. Because Saudi Arabia, like Dubai and some of these other countries, have endless wealth. They have endless oil wealth. And they also have talked about and styled themselves as potentially becoming nuclear. And so has Iran, which again is the former Persian Empire and sees itself as its own leadership, potential leader in the region.
Well, and so also I want to add this. This is why this is so important. Because you're going to find out the Saudi Arabians, they're Semitic. They really are Semitic. They come from Abraham. That's why they have endless wealth. And then people, guess what? Okay, so some of y'all gonna sit and ask, well, they commit all kind of crimes. Why aren't they under the curses of Deuteronomy 28:15-16? Because the Most High didn't make the agreement with them, baby. They only blessed because they're Abraham's seed. If we had kept our end of the covenant, we would be more blessed than them. Because actually that land belongs to us, black folk. Yes, I said it. That's how you know, okay, that one, we are the real children of Israel, because in the last days it said that the children of Israel are going to be scattered to the four corners of the earth. Even Joy, as educated as she is, she know which race of people is scattered all over the earth. I guarantee you, Joy Reid and Don Lemon, they're going to say, oh, it's black people. It's us. Yeah, because we're the children of Israel. It was prophesied that we will be scattered all through the earth. due to slavery, because we never kept our end of the covenant. We crossed from Nueva, Egypt into Saudi Arabia, Jabal al-Laws. The mountain is still burned to this day from when God came down and we made the deal with him with Moses, or Moshe, or Moshe. Well, there's no O's in the Paleo Hebrew, so it's Masha, to draw out of the water. We never kept our end of the covenant. So that's why, you see, so it's like those Saudis, they're like a +1. They're a +1 to the celebrity. We the celebrity, they're like a +1. They get all the benefits, because of their +1. They're a +1. Abraham had Ishmael with Hagar, who was black, by the way, because Abraham was the same color as Joy Reid. And so was Hagar. And so were the Saudis at one point in time. And so were the original Palestinians. So were the original Iraqis. Everything that came out of that land looked the same color as a Joy Reid. Everything that came up out of that land looked like that color that you see, that beautiful melanated color. Everything that came up out of, baby, please don't make me sit up here and tell you how Israel sits on the North Tectonic Plate of Africa. Hello. That's why the Israelites was always down in Egypt. You think a white Christ could have blended in with Egypt at that time? At that time period, it wasn't no white folk in Egypt. and if it was Arabs there, they was dark skinned. And Egypt was still there. They put the original Egyptians who are darker than Joy Reid and me. Them original Egyptians, they about this color right here, see? They kind of look like that. But anyway, they put them in North Sudan, or they put them in Sudan, and they brought in those Arabs. Because the reason why they did that was because to keep us from knowing who we are. We became a nation in Egypt. That's why that Amotep dude, he went crazy trying to destroy all the records and all of that, trying to erase us from history. Manetho, these were people that tried to erase our existence out of their history because of what happened, the famine and everything else. So, but everything that came up out of that land was the same color or darker than Joy Reid. That's why the Ishmaelites, the Saudis, they have a love-hate relationship with us. They love us when they in our hoods and stuff like that. And them Saudis, they know the truth too. And so do those Iranians. They know the truth. They know the truth. See, a lot of those people, a lot of those Palestinians, those Iranians, those Iraqians, they know that those people are not the people who walked out of Egypt with Moses. That's another big problem. That's a big, big, big problem. Y'all not going to see that to the end, though. That's why them people was fighting them so hard. Because they know that those are not the real people. They know they don't belong there. They come from Poland, Germany, Russia. That's where they come from. Khazaria, Georgia. The Caucasus Mountains. That's where they come from. Those people in the surround, they know this. The Persians know their history. They know who their enemies are. You make them mad. You make them people mad enough, they will tell. I've been in the hood, even back home. And you know them Arabs, they be owning all the corner stores and the gas station. You get in good and you start having conversations, they will tell you, my friend, my brother. You child of Jacob, you child of Jacob. You Israelite. You the real Jew. They will tell you this stuff. They know this. They know this stuff. These other races know this. You want to know why? Go read Psalms 83. Go read it. They are, all the other nations conspired against black people, the real Israelites. I'm saying this as if, if one day Joy Reid was to come across this video, I'm giving her scriptures that you can go read in the Bible. It'll even prove this. Go read 2 Kings 17, verse 24. The Sepharvaim, those are those Sephardic Jews. Now, the Sephardic Jews, they are Semitic, but they come from Esau. So their bloodline is no longer counted. See, because Esau made it with the Horites. The Horites they had Nephilim blood. That's how they lost their melanin. They'll tell you today, oh no, they went up to the caves and so, there's not much sunlight. But that's bullshit. I've watched documentaries on like climbers, like in Tibet and Nepal, and like people who like to climb Mount Everest. It gets hot up there. Like, I know it's because of the conditions and snow and ice and stuff like that, but you have to realize the sun is still shining. The sun still shines. Ain't no further you get away from the equator to, the less sunlight. No, you still get sunlight. They lost their melanin because they made it with the Horites. All this stuff that I'm telling you, they went through great lengths to hide this stuff. The Catholic Church, this is why they took books out of the Bible. This is why. They all in on it. They've all conspired against the real Jews, black people. Read these verses. Read Psalms 83. The tabernacles of Edom. That's white folk. They're elite. I ain't talking about Bubba down there in a double wide trailer down, the redneck hillbilly that's down in Louisiana in a double wide trailer. I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about the dumps of the world, the elites, the Rothschilds, those 13 families. Them. That's what I'm talking about. They're elites. They come from Amalek. That was I believe one of Esau's descendants. That Bible is very real. Very real. They fooled you into not you. I'm just talking about in general. They fooled our people in general into throwing away our history book. But Everything that's happening is already been prophesied in the Bible. We just didn't know how certain events was gonna go down. Like I didn't think, you know, I didn't think that it would be like some type of quote unquote blackmail situation or, that would lead into this, but look what's going on. And everybody in the white theologian, everybody was so worried about Russia and it's Russia and that's the bear. They're not the bear. They're the bear. They call themselves the bear, but in the Bible they're not the bear. They're not the bear. I've already given all of this information and how the kingdoms got their beast video. And so, but these people all conspired against us. They came up with that Balfour Declaration that was a scam by Great Britain. Amessica joined in. Amessica has been, see, I could talk, Joy is educated, but she'll understand what I'm saying. Israel used America like a Debo on Friday. Joy Reid gonna know who Debo is. See, and that's one thing I love about our people. We have our intellectuals like a Joy Reid, like a Stacey Abrams. But see, even though they're intellectual and brilliantly intelligent, they can still understand me when I speak to them. And I can use scenarios from our culture to where they'll understand what I'm talking about. Imagine Debo, but Debo is being controlled by somebody. Okay, you go hit this place. You go hit this place. Go patrol this place. See what they got on your 40, homie. Okay, well, that person that was giving him them instructions, that was those imposters. Debo was America. This has been a plan. They went after Gaddafi. It was all about oil and resources. See, they put those people over there because they all conspired together. They knew that those people were not the people. They knew that. Those people knew that. But it was a plan. See, the plan was, we're going to put y'all over here, but we're going to keep the real Jews over here because the real Jews have the magic with inside, like that black girl magic. Yeah, that came from God. That came from God. And the Holy Spirit, because the Holy Spirit is a woman. But that's a different story. I know I lost some people when I said that, but I have a video called The First Lady. The Real First Lady. You can check it out. It's in those lost books that they took out of the Bible. Wisdom of Solomon. All in Proverbs. Well, at the beginning of Proverbs, when it's talking about her. It's talking about the Holy Spirit. Wisdom, the Holy Spirit. Father brings the wrath. Mother brings the wisdom and the comfort. Right? Your father is the one who disciplines you. Your mom is the one who teaches you the ways of the Father. Because he made us in his image. Male and female. The Most High is the masculine man, the Father. The Holy Spirit is the feminine, the mother. The one who hovered over and bears. Well, women hover and bear and they bring forth life. But the man produces the seed because the woman can't bring forth life by herself. It takes two. And that seed is their child, Christ. Man, woman, child. As above, so below. We are made in his image, and male and female he made them. Holy Spirit is the female. God is the male. And their child It's Christ. That's why he was the first. He was the first spirit that was made. Out of all the angels, he was the first. That was a child. Oh, I'm sorry. They're not going to teach you that in church. Because they too busy taking your money. They too busy taking your money. Because they told you tithes was food. And they lied about that. Tithes ain't... they told you tithes was money. Sorry, they lied about that. Tithes ain't never been money. Tithes has always been food. Even when they like to quote that quote from Malachi. Will a man rob God? You know. Well, yes, because they did. And then you a man and you robbing your members with that false doctrine. Tithes is food, people. It's food. It ain't never been money. They had a monetary system back then called shekels and talents. I have a video on this too. It's called The Truth About Biblical Tithing. Go check it out. You can type in YouTube, The Book of Savage, one word, in your search bar and pull up my channel. You can look at my videos. And I gave you all this information for free, and I never asked you for a dime. But I do thank you for your time. Tithes is food. They had a monetary system back then called shekels and talents. And you will not see them using shekels or talents, even in the New Testament. Even in the New Testament, Matthew 23 and 23. Those are spices that are listed. Food. Because tithes is food, not money. And by you saying that tithes is money, you are changing the word of God. And it's a place for people who do stuff like that. And it's not heaven. It's not heaven. I know what they taught you in church, but it's not heaven. It's hell. And hell is a real place. It's really real. I know hell is real because I have a cousin that look like they come straight from the pits of hell. Like, no, I'm so serious. They look like one of them little, remember them putty things off the Power Rangers? Yeah. Tithes is food, though. Like I said, Matthew 23 and 23, we cannot do tithes today. That's where grace applies. That's where grace comes in. A lot of our people, we don't understand grace. We don't understand how it works. You have grace because we cannot give tithes. We cannot do tithes the correct way on how it's supposed to be done. And these people, they will pull up the scripture, Matthew, talking about will a man rob God? But even in that same scripture, I want to say it's Matthew 3 and 6. Malachi, not Matthew. But they were in that same scripture. It says, "Bring meat into my storehouse, not dollar bills, not shekels, not talents." It says meat. So that's why a lot of people in the church don't know this stuff, because they're being scammed every Sunday. I be getting so far off topic, man.
And despite the fact that most of the region are Arab and not Persian, they are also the seat of Shia Islam.
Oh, yeah. So what I was going to say was, okay, so the Saudis, they are Semitic, right? But the reason why they don't face harsh conditions is because, like, they're not facing the curses of Deuteronomy 28. Because, like I said, they are a +1. So because they're Abraham's seed, they're blessed. But even they have done harmful things against us. And so in the end, all that wealth that they have, they're going to lose that. See, that was it was temporary. It was temporary. But see, you came against the children of Israel too in the past. So, and like I said, all these other nations, they know this. The Saudis know this. That's why we are not liked around the world. Like, in some parts, we're not liked. And guess what? Those ashy nasties, because I told you the Sephardics, they come from Esau, but the ashy nasties, they come from Japheth. They come from a mixture of when Esau mixed with Japheth. But they come from Japheth or Japheth. And so they have no ties to the promises, to the blessings that are to come. All of this is about that piece of land over there in Israel, who gets to control that land and stuff like that, because it's the most prosperous, rich land on the face of the earth. But there's going to be a mass cleansing when Christ come back. Christ is going to cleanse that whole land and give it to the rightful owners, who it should have went to. Those people over there. So I was telling you about America's plan, right? So they put those people over there. They knew that those people are imposters. And I've said everything that I'm saying now, I've said in my previous videos, y'all. I've been saying this. I'm a broken record. I've been saying this for the past few videos. They put those people over there. They knew that those people were imposters. And see, America, they thought that they were in control. You know, they thought they were, and at one point in time they were. But well, they weren't in control. They had control of the situation. Today, they don't have control of the situation. They've never been in control. And so they put those people in that land, right? And so the people in the land, they knew that one day a fork in the road was going to come, where they're going to want to do their greater Israel project and expand. And, America ain't really on that, because they just want a base over there. That's why they put those people over there, because they wanted a base in that region to where they can be able to steal resources from the surrounding lands. And so they never, Amessica never expected the day that the people who they put in that land would Judas them. They never suspected the day. And it's easy to believe, because they were so busy looking at people that look like, they were so busy focusing on people that look like me and Joy, because they see us as the enemy, that oftentimes, and it's the same way with other races, they're so focused on us, they often don't see the other people that is stealing from them and doing them in. But the signs were there. Look at what happened with that, was it U.S. Liberty, when they bombed in the 60s, I believe. They bombed that ship, and then tried to play it off as it was our mistake, Saudi. No. See, that's what they told you. But really, behind the scenes, they was slapping fives like, yeah, got them motherfuckers. Look how we made them look stupid. And then you think they're going to attack us? Did we? No. The signs was there all along. But see, white folk give other white folk passes. Just like all these white folk gave Donald Dump a pass. They saw everything. You think these people, yes, I call them dumb and I call them Neanderthals, but shit, if they can pick us apart and they can see all the convictions and everything else with us, you think they couldn't see it on him? Nah, but he's one of them. He's one of them. So they would never think he would do them in and lie to them and, but he did. He used their naiveness to his advantage. See, they think that because, we're both white, that I'm not going to knife them in the back. I'm going to get these people to follow me. Just like that Jelly Roll guy just got exposed. It's just like that. They tell the world on the stage in the spotlight one thing, but behind the scenes, they have another plan in place to take over, to dominate, to rule by any means necessary. And that's what they've done. This is Esau living by the sword. So they put them people over there. They kept us over here and the reason why they kept us over here was because they know who the real children of Israel are. They know it. They don't want to tell you that, but they know it. Anywhere these people are at, this land is going to be blessed. But we have to figure out a way to keep them working to build our kingdom, but yet we have to keep them fighting and going against their creator, going against the agreement that they made originally with their God, who we're mad at because he didn't choose us. You get it? Do you get it? That's why knowing all of this stuff about the Bible is important. You are not going to make it through this not knowing what I know. You're not. You're not going to be able to see certain things. There's certain things that you're going to miss. You're going to be aloof. Like, why is this happening? Why is this happening? I see all the dots, but how does this connect? Well, that's what I'm here for. I'm showing you how this connects. They put those people over there. They never saw today. They never saw today when them people they put a bunch of wimps, nerdy wimps. Okay, imagine, how Steve Urkel and Screech from Saved by the Bell, you know how they was treated, right? Imagine giving them power for my Street Fighter fans out there, like a Colonel Guile. Imagine giving them that kind of power and that kind of coolness, like a Top Gun. Imagine giving them that. They're going to flip out. They ain't never had power like that. They ain't never been able to, make money and have power over people and be at the top. They've never experienced this before. So they're going to go crazy. War crazy, war hungry, more power, more land, more take. Because we got Debo over here. So now it's that, oh, I dare you to hit me. I dare you. I'm going to talk all my shit, and I dare you to put your hands on me. You ain't going to put your hands on me while my big brother Debo here. Not while my big brother Debo is here. You ain't going to do nothing. You ain't going to put your hands on me. Not while Debo is here. Not while YT Amessica is here. And that make Debo feel good. So what did Debo do? Debo done gave him all kind of artillery, ammo, and everything else because they don't mind fuck Debo, because Debo is not the smartest. Never been the smartest. They only appeared smart to us because they beat our intelligence out of us in slavery. And you have to realize, when these people who come from the caves, they come from the caves. They are nothing. We taught them how to read, write, and bathe and do arithmetic. We taught them, right? And so you have to realize that when these people finally got to be over the ones who were over them, oh, what a day. What a day. You think they're trying to get that up? And they pulled it off because they pulled it off, and them being able to pull it off is a clear sign that a lot of people do not know their scriptures like they claim they do. And the scriptures will tell you that when the real Jews is brought back into the land, there will be no more study of war. That's obviously after that's obviously after Armageddon, right? Isn't Armageddon war? Like, I thought you knew the scriptures. 1948 was a scam. It was a setup. The Balfour Declaration, it was a setup. They came forward, said they was the people. They had, everybody's backing, and then they allowed these preachers and these pastors to come through using their religious lingo, making these people who are unlearned in the scriptures, who don't read their Bibles at home, making them people feel like they are the people. But it was all a scam. They were all paid off. All of them. For all I know, shit, mildew, and I call Netanyahu mildew. I call him mildew because his real name is Milkowski. That's his real name. His father changed their name when they came to quote unquote Palestine. That's when they changed their name. Those people have no connection to the land. It took for Tucker Carlson. It took for Tucker Carlson to tell you what Black Hebrew Israelites have been telling you on these corners since the 1960s. How can I say this? What if, because everybody's asking, what do they have on dump? What do they have on dump? Like, why is he doing their bidding? Because it's so evident, like, everybody can see it. Like, what do they have on him? It's not necessarily so much what they have on him. I mean, they could have stuff on him. They could have stuff on him, right? I mean, we pretty much know. There's stuff in these Epstein files about him. We know that he's a pedophile. We know it. That's just what we know. It's in the Epstein files and everything, right? But that's not really, to me, it's bad, right? Please don't get me wrong. It's bad. But what I'm trying to say is that will come out. It will come out, right? But I feel like it'll go away. It will go away. You know what's not going to go away? You know what's not going to go away? What's not going to go away is if BB told Dumpy, if you don't do what I tell you to do, I'm going to tell them black people that they are the real Jews. Uh-oh. Wouldn't that cause anarchy? That would cause some anarchy, wouldn't it? I think it would. Because everybody can walk around and act like they have not heard these black Hebrew Israelites on these corners. They can act like it, but they have heard them. And if that BB dude was to run his mouth and say, hey, you ninjas, y'all are the real Jews. And we stole your identity. And America helped us do it. And then he get to talking about how they took part in, 9/11 and confirming what I have said and what Joy just said, like, about him knowing that there were no weapon of mass destruction. That was just something that he said to try to get them to go after Iraq. If he starts coming out, if he was to start coming out telling all of that stuff, you don't think that will cause anarchy? I think it would. Especially once he says America was complicit. America was complicit. Do you know how much money this country sends over there? Do you know how many tax-paying dollars is sent over there? And I don't care what Huckabitch says. I don't care what that little fat-ass Elmer Pig looking ass. That's right, Elmer Pig. That nigga look like, I'm sorry, that cracker look like Elmer Fudd and Porky Pig mixed in one. I don't care what he say about, do you know the kind of return of investment we get from shipping stuff over there and all that stuff he was talking about on that interview? It's bullshit. It's BS. What if Mildew wanted to blow the cover on the whole thing? What if it was true though? That's something, that's definitely something. I will tell these black people the truth. He already know. That's gonna cause, what you gonna cause now even Tyrone, that love to sit up and say, oh, that's the white man book. Even though he got the white man gun in his waistband. Now he has no choice. Now he has no choice. The people who stole your identity is telling you, hey, we stole your identity. It's true. What you gonna do then? See, because they'll sit up and argue with the black folk all day. But what you gonna do when they tell you? I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna laugh at you. I'm going to laugh. Do you know what that would do? Do you know what that would do? Do you know what that would do? A lot of these black preachers, they Some are the majority of them are so ignorant they really do think that we come from the children of Ham. So that's going to shock the hell out of them when they come to find out, yeah, you really don't know what you fucking talking about. You up in that pulpit every Sunday, but you really don't. You have not a fucking clue on what you talking about. You need to shut the fuck up and sit your ignorant ass down. You have a zeal for God, but not according to knowledge. Not denying your zeal, not denying your praise, but your doctrine is past piss poor. Past poor. Your doctrine. Oh, Christ is real. Christ is real. You want to know the difference between our doctrine? Only one of us can explain how Christ was in the tomb for 3 days and 3 nights. Your pastor can't explain how Christ was in the tomb from according to them in their false doctrine. Friday, either morning or midday, to Sunday morning. That's not 3 days and 3 nights, my love. They can't explain that. Then what they'll try to do, oh, see, he don't believe in Christ. He don't believe. No. I believe in Christ. I believe Christ came in the flesh, and I believe Christ was in the tomb for 3 days and 3 nights. But it was not from Friday to Sunday. So can you care to explain to me how you got Friday to Sunday morning? Care to explain? I've been waiting on the answer to that question for over 10 years now. I can explain the 3 days and 3 nights, and I have explained on previous videos. Go look it up. But their doctrines are false. Their doctrines are false. Then when you pull this Bible out and you whoop them with scripture, you whoop them and make them realize you don't know what you're talking about. I don't care who called you cold. I don't care how cold of a Sunday school teacher you think they are. They ain't shit. They don't know nothing. The majority of them don't. And that's not shade, that's truth. Because in the end of it, you're going to find out. Everybody that look like her and look like me, that call themselves Negroes, we are the children of Israel. Your pastor, your Sunday school teacher was the authority, so why wasn't they telling you this stuff? And then when somebody did come to tell them, they rejected that. So they rejected the truth. Then they're going to find out they rejected Christ, the real one. Ultimately rejecting themselves while leading you down a path that was wrong. And you had the chance to come from out among them. Come from out of her. You had a chance, but you stayed. Due to unbelief, non-faith, and lack of knowledge of the scriptures. It's easy to fool you because you don't know the scriptures. So all somebody got to do is get up, hoop, and holler, and all of a sudden you think they cold. They're not. Actually, they're not. If they're not telling you the truth, they're nothing. Got off into a little tangent here.
Arab and not Persian, they are also the seat of Shia Islam.
They're the same people, though.
Which you might note, Iran is the land of order, but Iran or Iraq, somewhere in that region, is where Abraham came from. So they had some claim to being the home, the land of Abraham. Abraham came from the land of order, and most archaeologists believe that the land of order is somewhere between Iraq and Iran.
Mm-hmm.
So they feel they have as strong a claim as anyone to leadership in the region. There are people in the chat saying Putin is running Trump. Well, somebody's running Trump, but it is not. I don't see Putin's interest in the U.S. attacking Iran.
Right.
I certainly, you could explain it to me. Somebody might be able to.
Right. It's not.
But the person, the figure who has wanted a war with Iran for much of my adult life that he's been a public figure is Bibi Netanyahu. It is the Likud party. It is Israel.
And the reason why is because, so he wants, because those people are Semitic. They're Semitic. That's, I forgot to make that point earlier. So those Saudis, they are Semitic. The only ones who ain't Semitic is the ones who want the war. They want the war to wipe out the Semitic people. The threat. The threat to their existence. Meaning, not to Israel, because Israel, the black folk, we're here. But meaning the threat to their lie, to exposing their lie. Somebody over there, they know. They know. Those Saudis know. They know. They know the truth. We crossed into their land in Jabal al-Laws. They know the truth. But, sometimes people do stuff out of anger. You know how when you make somebody mad and they cuss you out and then they tell you all this stuff that they really been wanting to tell you? I imagine it could be something like that happened. They done piss one of them Saudis or them Iranians off, and next thing you know, they tell them black folk, y'all the real Jews. It's gonna be anarchy. And white folk gonna finally see they've been getting thrown under the bus, they've been lied to. But they ain't innocent because they got paid for it. They got paid. So they ain't innocent. They just didn't know that when shit hits the fan, they was gonna be the ones who were the sacrifice. They didn't know that. They didn't know that. When I'm talking about regular white folk, I'm talking about people like Dump, people like Kirk, people, the regular white man. Because you got them, like Tucker Carlson, and then you have Benicia Shapiro. That's what I call him. Benicia. You little faggot. Hey, I know my kind when I see it. I don't care if they're married or not. I know DLs ain't only blacks. But see what at the end, what the big gag is gonna be when Joy finds out and she sees it, that Tucker Carlson, Donald Trump, Mike Huckabee, Putin, J.D. Vance, Benicia Shapiro, Matthew Walsh, Kirk, did I say Dump, and Putin, and Shapiro, when they find out that all of them are the same people, they're all the same people. The same people. They all go back to the same progenitor, Esau. That's what the intelligent minds like a Joy Reid, like a Roland Martin, when they figured that out, that these people was all the same people. They all come from Esau. They all come from Edom. My. The original King James, the 6th and the 1st, he was black. Sure was. He was black. I know you'll laugh. I know you'll clown me. But he was. His name was James Stewart. He still has a lineage that's in England today. He has a descendant that's on TikTok. And he looks like the Stewart lineage, the real Stewart lineage, the real Stewart. Because they were black. Those white people, they didn't get on the throne until Oliver Cromwell. Before then, we ruled Europe during the Dark Ages. We did. The Renaissance is when they came in and repainted everything, redid everything white. But Putin already showed you the black icons on the church walls in Russia. See, the old world knows the truth. It's us that don't know. Because we are in a land of white supremacy. This is Esau's kingdom. So he's going to do everything to keep us from knowing the truth. But look up Septimius Severus. He was a black Roman emperor. Alessandro de' Medici. Yes, they were black. The Medici family. Yes, they were black. Did you know that Africans dominated and ruled Sicily at one point in time? Did you know that? We also ruled the mainland too. Yes. King James' grandson, Charles II, who they call Black Boy. I've done videos on this guy. He was black. He was black. They try to say, oh, his mom called him Black Boy because of his dark hair. Like, that's such bullshit. Such bullshit. These people are gonna burn because of their lies. Maybe this is why God hates liars. Because this is what it will come to. Then you have these dumb people who don't do no type of research. They won't research this stuff, I've seen on YouTube videos where there were people who knew stuff like me, and they were on a tour in London, right? And they were asking questions. But the way they were posing the questions was kind of like a Tucker Carlson type of way. And the tour guide said to them, I cannot talk about that. They've been taught not to talk about the black history of England or London. They've been taught. This is Esau's kingdom. No matter where you go, over there, across the pond, over here, this is Esau's kingdom. You're going to see how much that's why, because I told you, there's so much lies that before it's all over with, there's going to be a great day of revealing, where all things are going to be revealed. It has to be this way because the people, they look up to these people so much, these athletes, these NBA athletes, these, they look up to these people so much. You're going to find all the evil things that some of these people did to get to where they at. You're going to find out. Takes more than talent. Take more than talent.
And he has found a way. I don't know if it is, as Jeffrey Sachs said, is it something in the Epstein files? Is he reminding Trump when he comes to these visits what they have, what they know? Because there is no American interest in going to war with Iran. There is nothing that the United States gets out of going to war with Iran.
No.
They cannot colonize Iran. Poor Gaza, Donald Trump, and apparently FIFA and Israel are going to turn it into a giant real estate and soccer development. And those poor people are going to be rounded up into refugee camps, if not forced to leave altogether. They're going to take the West Bank and completely colonize it. And apparently there's nothing anyone can do. That,
like they did with Lake Lanier, like they did with the Central Park, like they did with Tulsa, Oklahoma. They do this land to land. They go land to land and they live by the sword. This is, I keep reminding y'all. Y'all remember what was it, last year, a few months ago, where Dump said he knew he wasn't getting into heaven. Well, fast forward to today and look what's going on. You see why? The reason why he said that is because he was being told the plan right then and there. Even if he wanted to deny it, he couldn't. Because either they're threatening to tell us or to tell everybody the truth. And, they'll sacrifice, the whole thing. Yeah, it's going to look bad for them, but you got a whole country full of people that's going to be mad at you for different reasons. These white folks going to be mad at you because you straight up lied to them. Karen and Bob had to suffer greatly because you done cut their health care benefits to give money to these people over here. And then it turns out this whole time that they were imposters and that you knew that they were imposters and that you actually put them up to this. Isn't that treason? Isn't it? Is that not treason? But who gonna hold them accountable? Who gonna hold them? Who's gonna hold the government of America accountable and the government of Britain accountable? Who? God, the Most High. They're gonna get a judgment that only the Most High can give. They have conspired together to lie and put these people in a land and call these people a people who they knew they were not. It's gonna be a lovely day, 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 lovely day. It's gonna be for me, because the truth is coming out. The truth is coming out. I'm gonna be around laughing at all the people. Explain to me how we from the children of Ham again. I want to hear that again. Explain to me. Oh, hey, you little bug-eyed Pan-African guy. Explain to me whose caves and stuff that they did that they don't have. Because if they don't have this stuff, then how can they do a DNA test and compare it to Abraham and compare it to such and such if they don't have these people's locations in these caves? Those dumb Pan-Africans, man. You go through my videos, you'll see who I'm talking about. It's this one. He like to sit up and say, yeah, there was never a Moses or a Matthew, John, or it's like, these are English names, Dodo Bird. But, oh well, you know. I just came across this, and so, you know, I'm going to read a little bit more in the video here because we're almost at 4 hours. Me and my long-windedness. But I came across this video and I wanted to play it because she just really did pretty much put a lot of stuff in order for you. Happy White History Month. Well, here it is. So we're going to read about it. I know we saw the video, but it deserves. It's from the Arkansas Gazette. Oh, Wrightsville Holocaust. State's worst. Uh-oh. Better be careful with that word. Because then they'll be trying to come and say, people who not even Semitic could be trying to come and say that that's anti-Semitic. How dare you compare them? Even though they were owners and shippers and they were so involved that the slave markets closed down on Jewish holidays. That's how involved they were. Anyway, the Negro Boys Industrial School Fire, also known as the Wrightsville Fire, occurred on March 5th, 1959 at the Negro Boys Industrial School, NBIS, a juvenile correctional facility for black male youth located near Wrightsville, Arkansas. On that tragic day, 21 black boys died in a dormitory fire at the facility. The NBIS was originally established to house juvenile delinquents who would otherwise have been sent to adult prisons. Most of the boys placed there have been charged with minor offenses, were from broken homes, or simply had no other place to go. The boys resided in a 1936 Works Progress Administration building that was in deplorable condition. A 1956 report by sociologist Gordon Morgan documented the appalling conditions at the institution. Many boys go for days with only rags for clothes. More than half of them wear neither socks nor underwear during the winter of 1955 through 56. It is not uncommon to see youths going for weeks without bathing or changing clothes. Arkansas Governor Orville Faubus, who visited the facility in January 1958, remarked, "They really need help. They are using some old wood stoves which should be replaced." Wow. one of these guys could have been another Malcolm X or, you know, another Medgar Evers or, you know, every time I see this picture though, it's like this guy, he always catches my eye. Like, probably was very intelligent, you know, and we have the gifts of God within us, even though sometimes they might go undeveloped and not developed how they were supposed to. He could have been a leader. Could have been a leader. Could have been a great pastor, you know, but we'll never know because their lives were cut short. Nobody never paid or, you know, no justice was ever served for any one of these guys. And these people think that they got away and that they're not going to have to answer for this. And they are. Listen, I understand well, I didn't do this. I didn't. Hey, but guess what? Tamir Rice wasn't there when our people said, give us Barabbas. Because if you don't know, that's another reason why we in this situation. Oh, yes. See, we want to accept the good when it comes to Christ. And, you know, us being Israelites, but we don't want to accept the bad. Our ancestors gave the order to have Christ murked, to let him, you know, be crucified. And our ancestors said, let it be on us and on our children. Oh, my kids, though. We still talk like that. The fire began around 4 a.m. on March 5th, 1959 in a dormitory. Of the 48 boys aged 13 to 17, 27 managed to escape by jumping from windows. The remaining 21 were trapped inside and burned to death. Although an investigation was launched, the authorities never determined the cause of fire. It was discovered that the dormitory doors had been locked from the outside, making me you know what? Okay, so I ain't gonna even say that. Not that I hate, but being an empath, I'm sorry. And then it's like, sometimes it's so hard to explain, but like, this is who told me about this. This is who told me. This who told me. And what confirmed it was when I was about to say making me escape. See how I'm wanting to talk in first person like I was there, but I know that I was not there because I'm here now. And I did not know about this. I just found out about this a few days ago. I was doing some research and I came across this. Then I came across the video that I played for y'all. I think this is who told me. Weird, I know, but oh well, I'm honest. The fire began around 4 a.m. on March 5th, 1959 in the dormitory. Of the 48 boys aged 13 to 17, 27 managed to escape by jumping from windows. The remaining 21 were trapped inside and burned to death. Although an investigation was launched, the authorities never determined the cause of the fire. It was discovered that the dormitory doors had been locked from the outside, making escape nearly impossible for those trapped inside. Some speculated that the fire may have resulted from the building's deteriorating condition. That's what it looked like. At a morning press conference following the fire, the governor placed blame for the tragedy on Lester R. Gaines, the black superintendent of the facility, of course. He criticized Gaines for not ensuring that an employee was present in the dormitory at night in case of emergencies. Gaines refused to resign, stating that he would not step down unless formally asked to do so. 11 employees supported Gaines, signing a statement published in the Arkansas State Press. Nonetheless, the board chairman, Alfred Smith, terminated Gaines and several other employees as recommended by the governor. A committee was appointed to investigate the fire. It concluded that the correctional facility, the state of Arkansas, and the local community all shared responsibility for the incident. However, the committee recommended no specific course of action. Of course not. A Pulaski County grand jury questioned witnesses but returned no criminal indictments. The tragedy was largely forgotten until nearly 50 years later, when Frank Lawrence, the brother of one of the victims, began working on a documentary about the fire in 2019. Joined by other family members, he sought to bring attention to the forgotten tragedy and provide a sense of closure. That same year, a monument honoring the 21 boys who died was unveiled at the Wrightsville unit of the Arkansas Department of Correction, located on the site of the original facility, which closed in 1968. These people in these states, they'll never understand, like, why is Arkansas so poor? Like, why do these southern states suffer the way that they do? You know, in front of us, in front of the spotlight, they're gonna smile and cheese and make it seem like it's gravy, you know, but they know in their hearts, they know that they're struggling. They know that, you know, things are not good, right? But they don't want to connect the dots. It's because you never made stuff right, and then you went forward to try to cover stuff up, not solve stuff, not serve justice, not give justice, you know, where it's deserved, when it's clear. And you shirk, you blame, you deflect, you blame on other people. You know, the governor turn around and blame the superintendent. That's how they are. I'm going to end this video with this. And I hope these videos reach you. I put a lot of time, a lot of effort, you know, and I didn't ask for any money, or I don't expect any awards or anything like that, you know, but God saw me. God saw me work today he saw me work 8 hours, and then I went to hurry up, got me something to eat. Then I got right to work, and It takes time. This is a 3-hour video. 3.5 hours, excuse me. But I started maybe about 10 o'clock. And as you can see, it's 2:35 in the morning. And I have to wake up in the morning, so to work. So I did. I put the time, I put the effort. There were times where I wanted to give up. There were times where I did give up. I'm not ashamed of anything on my journey. Not ashamed. Because it's my journey. It's me. I can never be ashamed of myself. Because if this don't get, even if this don't get 100 views, guess what? I still tried. I still put forth effort. And I won't have to sit there and wonder and deal with that. I wonder what would have happened if I tried, if I would have actually did that, you know? I won't have to sit there and deal with that. So, yeah.
What kind of man would risk his life just to understand what it means to be black in America? Not read about it, not debate it, but actually live it. In 1959, a white journalist named John Howard Griffin made a decision that most people would never make. He darkened his skin medically and traveled through the Deep South as a black man. Not for a moment, not for a headline, for 6 weeks. And the moment he crossed that line, everything changed. He went from
I guarantee you, not too many will do this. Not too many will do what this man do. To all these white folks, this right here is the perfect test. You want to see how your people are? Do some shit like this. Do some shit like this. And you go into the South and you see. You get pulled over by the police and watch how your own people act towards you. Now, I've known people in modern times that have done stuff like this. I've seen their videos. One guy changed him forever. I don't know if he still is a racist, but he went from not believing in systemic racism and white supremacy. He went from believing that it didn't exist to seeing it firsthand and experiencing it. And it wasn't too pretty.
privilege to persecution. Doors that once opened for him were now closed for 6 weeks. And the moment he crossed that line, everything changed. He went from privilege to persecution. Doors that once opened for him were now closed. Basic services were denied. He was watched, followed, and treated like a threat. He couldn't use restrooms, sit in restaurants, or drink from the same water fountains. And the same people who once spoke to him in kindness now met him with hostility. He said something that shook people. I've become a nobody. Pause. Let that sink in. Because what broke him in a matter of weeks, we've endured for generations. Not temporarily, not experimentally, but as a lived reality. There are people today who will tell you racism doesn't exist anymore. They'll say we talk about it too much. They'll say we make excuses. But these are the same people who will not trade places with us. Not for a day, not for even an hour.
Nope.
And you cannot invalidate an experience you've never had. You cannot minimize a reality you've never lived. And you don't get to call it an excuse.
And those same people, they'll never do what that man did, because we will find out in the end they know that racism and white supremacy exists, but that's their defense mechanism. That's how they cope with it. Oh, I'm gonna look over here. It's not there. It's not there. As long as it's not affecting me. That's why Renee Good and Alex Pretty, rest in peace to them both, was such a shocker. Because now they're seeing it. On TV, actually. They're seeing it. Ain't the way God work funny? Now you seeing it. Can't turn away from it now. You can't turn away. And it's one of your own. Even Taylor Swift didn't even say nothing. Crazy.
You've benefited from not having to endure it. Because what he experienced wasn't just uncomfortable, it was dangerous. He had objects thrown at him while people yelled slurs. He was stalked through the streets by a man threatening him. He experienced what he called the hate stare. Everywhere he went, he was disrespected, degraded, and treated like he didn't belong there. Even getting a ride became a risk. People picked him up just to intimidate him. This wasn't just racism. This was psychological warfare, constant pressure, constant tension, constant awareness that something could happen at any moment. And here's the truth. He could take it off. We couldn't. And when he told the truth, what he exposed, what he experienced, that's when it escalated. He received death threats. He was hanged in an effigy. A cross was burned in response to his work. His family was put in danger. It got so severe he had to leave the country and move to Mexico just to be safe. Now understand this. We didn't need nobody to validate our experience. This wasn't about discovery. This was simply about exposure. And let's bring this into today, because segregation didn't just impact where we sat. It impacted where we could live, what we can own, how we could build wealth. And we are still dealing with the ripple effects of that right now. And even after everything we've been through, even after being overlooked, denied, and disrespected, we are still here, y'all. And there is a reason for that, because what they see, whether they admit it or not, is greatness. They see brilliance and resilience. They see power. They see a people who continue to rise in spite of everything designed to break them. And that makes them uncomfortable. Now drop a black fist.
This was so powerful. You're going to see this video again. This little video, this was powerful. And so, you'll see it again. But y'all, let me carry my black ass to bed. I thank you. I love you. And remember, I thank you for your time. No, remember, I never asked you for a dime, but I do thank you for your time. See, look at me getting sleepy. Love y'all. Peace.